Man, kind of had me worried there, but it's okay. It was just a little oopsie. I mean, I guess in its defense, I also just live streamed an hour long discussion video not too long ago. All right. Am I coming in okay? Sounds pretty good. Stream health is healthy. Excellent. Just what I needed. Just just like a juice of assorted fruits. All right. I think we can continue with this. So yeah, I've been meaning to kind of get to this one quite a bit, but especially with kind of how the schedule has kind of been lately, especially that I also just really wanted to finish up Kingdom Hearts. I didn't get to this as this game was making the rounds, but I was still intrigued enough to get it, and I was actually able to get it on the Switch with just reward points. With the gold coins through their reward system. So I mean, it isn't really, it doesn't really cost a whole lot. So this is Suika game, or watermelon game. So basically, you move the fruits, you then drop the fruits like any other puzzle game. And then when two fruits of the same type touch together, they combine into a larger fruit, and you just got to make sure it doesn't overflow from the box. And you basically have to combine all of the fruits in the order you see here. As far as like scores go, I mean, mine are kind of, not the worst, but it took a lot for me to even get there. And online scores, on the other hand, holy schmoly, how much time have people have been spending on this game? I think it was a browser only game in Japan, and just got really popular. And I think for now it's like unless if it's like the free browser version, you do have to get this on the Switch. But and when I got it, they used to have like a toggle for like between the normal theme and the Halloween theme, but now it's the normal theme and a holiday wintry theme. So we'll do a couple of rounds of like the normal theme first, and then we'll do the winter one because it's close to Christmas. But yeah, it always, like any puzzle game, it always starts out like simple enough until you really needed to start clearing away some space, and then all of a sudden that's kind of where the real challenge happens. And as far as like the kind of fruit that you get, it only goes up to a certain point. Like I think as far as like the fruit goes, you only get like up to like oranges, and then from there it is up to you to kind of merge the fruit appropriately so that you can like clear the way and increase your score. and I never. Man, it always boggles me to how some people can get the scores that they can. You know, it's just like, man, do you play any other games? Well, I say this as someone who, kind of as of late has been just spending the majority of his time just grinding classes in Final Fantasy XIV. That occasionally breaks into doing something else, but I grind to get all my classes up to like the max level between my main character and my alternate character. I mean, I have to pay a monthly subscription to keep my account to keep playing with my current account, so I have to make the most use of it somehow. As if I don't play, as if I don't pay a subscription for enough stuff already, both personal and professional. One of the reasons why I'm broke as crap. But yeah, this was one of the games that was kind of hitting the viral sphere, as it were, for this year. And it was one of the few that, actually caught my attention because, I like a good puzzle game every now and then. Tetris and Bejeweled. That'd be fun. Looks pretty cutesy. Really wish that aside from like the special seasonal toggles and stuff, that they would have more than one track of music. Like, it's cute and all, but then it loops constantly, and then, it kind of gets to you after a while. Not to mention they crank it up to be as loud as possible, and have like no setting and have like no setting for either the music or the sound effects. I think they would have at least this. Like, I appreciate the minimalism at least, but it's like, can't you at least have like a slider for your sound? Almost got the two pineapples to touch together. Come on. But yeah, this game can be surprisingly challenging. Can get really challenging really quick the more you play. Especially pretty stingy with how you get your high score. Not to mention, it's like you have your fruit and it's like, oh, it's so close, but not quite. And yeah, you can't like save fruits or shuffle between fruits. Nah, you just you get what you get. There you go. Oh. See, sometimes that could be a little nerve-wracking because if the fruit like kind of like they like merge and then they like cause like other fruit to pop up, if they pop up far enough up there, that counts as a game over. So yeah. And I could occasionally do stuff like that where I mean to drop it one way, and I wasn't watching with how with how I was like directing the fruit, so I ended up dropping it another way. Ah, I thought I was kind of in the clear. But yeah, this is one of the games that I'm kind of closing the year out with. I just recently got Trombone Champ, thanks to like to a Nintendo Shop card that I got as part of a Secret Santa, with a group of friends in a Discord server. So, um, I'm hoping to play that a little bit, and of course, the big one is that I really should start kind of preparing for with like practicing is the full 96 course marathon of Mario Kart DX for Extra Life. That is the second of the incentive streams that I had as part of Game Day, which I did last month because I met my goal of $250. Um, and I am going to try to reach double that goal uh, with the stream. I did make some headway when I did the backlog stream not too long ago when I played Celeste, but yeah, I mean, it didn't really help that I had problems on when I was initially trying to stream it on Giving Tuesday, and when I did, and when I did finally get around to streaming it like a week later, I could have really only afforded to give the same amount of time that I had for like a normal stream on a day where not as many people would have been like available or something. Probably in the midst of like holiday shopping. But I still raised, some money, and it was a fun time despite how excruciatingly hard that game can get, and I was playing even with cheats, so man, it's like playing the game as intended would just absolutely drive me insane. Probably would have made for good content, but I also want to actually have some fun and make headway, so I couldn't really stick to playing the game as intended, as originally intended, unfortunately. And then I also hope to pop in F-Zero 99 again. Not sure if I can guarantee that one, but not only did like all of the tracks for the leagues released, but they also have a special winter event going on, which kind of flies in the face of wanting to showcase the rest of the tracks, because I think some of the tracks undergo an aesthetic change. But I mean, it's all right. If I'm able to squeeze it in, because I want to do it on a weekend where the Grand Prix like rotate every 30 minutes. But if I can't really make it work, I might have to like just do it later or something. Um, because yeah, aside from this, possibly Trombone Champ, and definitely the Mario Kart 8 charity stream, it's basically going to be like, I think like one or two more streams, and then I'm going to go full into my next playthrough series, or rather kind of like the plan that I'm probably going to have for like the entire year, which is basically a lot of Pokemon based content. Yeah. Um My old username would most certainly be proud. That's for sure. Because I never really did a whole lot of Pokemon under my old username. Yo! What's up? This? Light behind me? Oh, that's something Mary got me. She got me, I think, for like past Christmas or something. And I think I might have had it for like a year or so, maybe 2. Yeah. I don't always have it up. I just have it up when I'm like doing stuff when I feel like it. Well, the thing is that part of it you kind of have to like drill holes, to kind of hang it up, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I just have it up like as it is. Well, because once you drill holes into the wall, you can't really undrill them. Your stuff's a bit different, though. Man, I don't really know the best way to explain it, but it's just something that I don't really want to bother with doing right now. Like, I'm just trying to keep the walls as is, basically. So this is kind of the next best thing. Mary got that for me for like a past Christmas. It means you're a local friendly gamer. Good night. Yeah, it's a mouthful. Yeah, help Wilma get ready for bed. Yeah. I'm back, I don't need to do. Sorry, that was my sister again. She's asking what this is behind me, and usually my face kind of does cover it up because of how I have positioned it. So it is a little hard to explain, certain things because, it's not something that, my family is used to seeing, and that's kind of how I've been kind of describing, live streaming this stuff as like playing with friends, because it's like the closest thing that I could, kind of equate this with. And, sometimes I get people watching this, sometimes, I'm talking to myself as I'm live, And, maybe hopefully sometime down the road I actually will be playing with people online as I'm streaming this. Who knows? But yeah, especially because ever since my grandmother has moved in with us, she has been sleeping in the guest room, which is right next to my room, and every time that my mom and my sister help get her ready for bed, if I happen to be streaming or doing whatever at around that time, they'll see me doing just that. That's also kind of why I might be like semi-silent, just to be not just to kind of not be too disruptive, or you know, as they're kind of doing that sort of thing. That's also kind of why I kind of gave the kind of update that I did, back in September, because I do not know how I was gonna go about this with, my grandmother, who I called my Oma, because it's the terminology for grandmother, that is kind of based in like the German language, and my grandparents on my mother's side have ancestors from Germany. And I think I picked up on that when like an old school friend, or like an old school classmate, called his grandparents Oma and Opa, and I thought that that was a pretty neat way to address them. So I called them the same thing, and it just so happened to work because it's a German way of calling them grandma and grandpa, and they just happen to be of German descent. Uh, even though the kind of the whole German ancestry has been well watered down by the time the generations got to my mother and my uncle. The same could be said in regards to my dad's side, which is more Polish and Czech, I believe, if I remember correctly. Basically all European. But kind of back to the point I'm trying to get is that, yeah, I the thing with a lot of my tech based interests, especially when it comes to the more video game end, is because they don't really match up to what my family is interested or what they also know. It can come off as a little bit unusual and hard to follow at times. That's also kind of why, in plenty of cases, I've kind of the in-house family IT support. You don't always, every family has like those family members that are basically the IT support before they actually call like IT support or customer service for like whatever sort of computer problems they may have. Yeah, that's kind of the position I'm in. you know. And it isn't too bad, provided that the situation isn't too, well, panicky, which sometimes it can be, especially if, you're used to something working and then all of a sudden, it doesn't work like it's used to, and it's just, and you're wondering, like, what the heck, and you get all frustrated, and you're wondering, am I gonna lose all my stuff? Do I have to take this in? How much is this gonna cost? What's gonna happen? Do I need to get a new one? Your mind just kind of races, especially in a very technology-driven age. I'm pretty suspect of that as well. That's Especially because, I am not actual IT support, I am family IT support, which is very different. If I was an actual IT support, I probably would. Well, I mean, I would have probably a more steady job, which, I mean, I'm not sure if that's even the case now, because I think even the tech jobs, are facing like a whole lot of layoffs and stuff, especially with how certain companies want to implement AI into stuff and algorithm driven things into stuff. And it's like, I am of the mind that for using as a framework and as a tool that doesn't take over doing the work, AI is fine. Once it starts replacing people in whatever function, being creative or otherwise, then I have a bit of an issue with it. Especially because, no one has seen any sort of science fiction, in terms of like books, TV, movies, TV series, or video games, and not see like all of the kind of cautionary tales that a lot of people have put into, letting AI dominate everything, and it's like, I mean, there's also media that kind of use AI as kind of a backdrop to kind of answering the question, well, what does it mean to be human? And it's like, that is also a very interesting way to have AI as part of, like, kind of having AI characters and stuff to tell the story. But it's like the other part in time is just like, hey, maybe we should not have AI do too much stuff for us. Otherwise, we're just asking for trouble. And of course, it's always like the large businesses that don't really seem to get a clue, because it's like, ooh, new technology to make life easier. How cool would that be? And we're just like, at some point, where do you say stop? And it's like, I think we really are at the point where we really should be saying stop. Again, as an assistive tool and as a systematic framework for insert technology here, it's fine. When it starts replacing functions that humans need to do for whatever reason, that is a no-no in my book. And unfortunately, we're kind of seeing more of the more problematic uses as of late, especially because crypto and NFTs have gone down the hole. Although not everybody seems to get that memo, because some people are trying to hang on to those for dear life too. So I really hope that the latest AI trends kind of follow a similar beat sooner rather than later. Otherwise, we really would be living in the Matrix. I mean, I'm having a pretty decent run, Sometimes I barely get past 1,000, and whoops, things already full. Trying to get some fruit to merge in between the cracks or something. Working as well as I was kind of hoping. That doesn't look good. Oh. That worked out a little bit better than I thought. Oh, come on. Nice if I could do something with the 2 pineapples and the 2 peaches, but of course they have to be absolutely the farthest away that they could possibly be. and nothing is really kind of working in my favor, yeah. Alright, I'd say it's time for a mood shift. Christmas time, Christmas time. Fortunately, I kind of don't really have the music on too high. I kind of have it a little low because it's a tad loud otherwise. And again, you know, grandmother is in the other room trying to sleep. I mean, this is also going to be a shorter stream anyway, because it's like, after a while, you kind of see all that the game has to offer, you know, aside from, you know, constantly trying to get, like, a better score and stuff. And trust me, I'm not going to get anywhere near as how crazy as some of those online scores are, so... Plus, I'm also coming right off of my Pokemon discussion video, which I surprisingly went over an hour long, you know, especially because, you know, it's like, you know, I admit that, you know, I stutter a lot, I ramble, I kind of circle around talking points and kind of lose track of talking points, you know. I don't really have the best setup to, like, reference from a script or a teleprompter, and honestly, even if I did, I would, like, screw up halfway through, and of course, when I go live, I can't really do a retake, you know? That was actually kind of one of the biggest difficulties I had when I tried to do scripted content. especially because because I sound more fluid and verbose when I type, but then I stutter and sound, you know, sound like a fool like every time I try to put my thoughts into words. It didn't help that kind of very early on, especially under my old username, when I initially opened the YouTube channel, I was going off of base of stuff that I was watching at the time, be it like, you know, people that made countdown lists, people that did their own reviews, or people that did all sorts of variety content, and it's like I didn't really have much of an identity. And one would say that, maybe I haven't really have gotten much better since then, but at least I've tried to make everything kind of still seem, me. you know, that's why I also kind of chose like the current username I'm using to be a little bit more like kind of basic, but in a way kind of still has a very familiar feeling. Because it's like, yeah, I'm just another gamer, but I also like to have fun, and I like to try to have fun with, what I like to play with, and maybe, have other people sharing that fun too, especially because that's definitely needed nowadays, especially because, since content creation has become kind of a very huge thing, in both like live and pre-recorded and pre-scripted, sort of deal. No matter what the topic, you know, even when people start from humble beginnings, they can kind of lose a little bit of them, little side of themselves along the way. Especially like in recent years where it's like, oh my goodness, the amount of controversy, scandals, and all that stuff happening with people that you grew up watching. You think that that was like a thing that only happened to like celebrities who had too much of an ego. Now it just happens to anyone, especially because social media can give anyone a platform. You know, and I do my best not to get caught up with like kind of all of like all of the various news stories and all, but especially like in the past decade or so, it's like it is so frequent, and it is so in the cycle just repeats over and over, like where it's like something happens, people react to it, then there's like the fallout, and then there's like the apology period, and then there's the period it's like, well, should we like be forgiving toward this person or not, or stuff. And then there's you know and then it's like after that it's like time to like maybe breathe, maybe kind of try to take our minds off of the whatever's happened, and then it starts all over again with something different. It also doesn't really help that especially with social media, everybody feels like they have an obligation to be in everybody else's business, and it's like stuff that already stuff that we didn't like about middle school, high school, college, even when it comes to like coming across like neighbors in like apartments, or neighborhoods, suburban neighborhood houses, or even complete strangers. Now you can just encounter that all of the time, and especially because especially with recent years, as following the pandemic and stuff, people just really don't give a crap anymore. At a time where it's like we really should give a crap. And it can be very stressful, it can be very demoralizing, minimalizing. And I know I'm like talking about like a very heavy-handed subject matter over a simple fruit puzzle game. But it's like, yeah, it's just sometimes you just want to go back to when things are simple. But a large part in doing so is to, try to keep things simple about you, you know? The more you try to complicate things, the harder it gets. And I mean, I already make things hard for myself as it is, you know. I may have been book smart when I was in school, but I can be a very clumsy sort. I can appear both smart and stupid within the span of an hour. Don't even need to have a camera or a microphone to record me for that either. Just ask my family and close friends. But yeah, I'm trying to wrap up the year as best as I can. You know, uh, I kind of made like a goal list for myself this year, and I don't think I've came even close to like most of what I wanted to do. And I was hoping to kind of develop better habits, but instead I leaned on the habits that I was trying to lean into kind of the bad habits that I was trying to improve upon. Uh, Most notably, exercise and spending. Those were always the two that I kind of struggled with, which kind of sucked because um, in terms of exercise, I used to be so good in high school and through the majority of college, and I just fell off so hard once grad school came into the picture. And I would and every time and then I fall into the trap of every time that I would make good progress, I would just undo all of that progress and get myself into a worse position. I mean, and while like while my spending hasn't been like, like the model of financial planning, it has never been as bad as it was this year. And I think part of it is due to that I had unplanned circumstances that required me to spend more than I was usual on certain things, but I didn't budget appropriately after the fact, and now I'm kind of caught in a bit of a hole, especially with student loan payments restarting, including with interest. And that was one of the few things that I actually did a pretty good job on, like early on when the payments froze during the start of the pandemic, and then I just progressively got slower and slower on them as the years went on. So yeah, 2023 was the year that I was hoping to improve from 2022, but now I need to do like now I feel like I need to do like 2 years worth of improvement for next year, so that I don't really get myself into a bind. And I have to keep in mind that I'm still fortunate enough to be able to, have a supporting family, have a family that, while may not understand what the things that I'm interested in, and don't have any sort of thing that they could advise me on in terms of the career path that I've chosen. They still try to support me the best they can, especially with all the stuff that they have gone through the past few years. And I try to do whatever I can to help them out in return, you know? While at the same time taking the opportunity to, really try to push my preferred career forward, because I like to do freelance. I like to, because, I started operating kind of my freelance photography and videography identity as a business when I became a senior in college. So by the time I graduated with my master's, I was already 2 years in, and man, there were so many things that I wish I could have told myself back then. Like, I do not regret the career path that I've chosen, nor wanting to start a business on my own. But, oh my god, that just shot the cherry and strawberry so far out for no reason. See, this is the instance that I was talking about. Anyway, back to my own little TED Talk. But I could have handled the first couple of years, especially the years going out of college, so much better. Like, granted, I still dealt with a lot of academic burnout, because I was constantly taking extra classes. I was constantly doing summer sessions, because I gave myself one hell of a workload, as well as basically burning through whatever scholarship, whatever aid, and whatever college savings that I had, thanks to my grandfather from my dad's side, and just to go to the school that I wanted, to take the profession that I want. And then I basically went about it in a way that wasn't necessarily wrong, but wasn't exactly helpful. Especially given the kind of person that I was. Namely, like a very introverted person. A person that was kind of hoping that, all of the kind of the book smarts that I had and all of the internship experience I had could lead me into the kind of job that I want. And when that didn't happen, it really kind of messed with my head a lot. It messed with my kind of the ambitious side of me that was kind of already kind of really burned out after taking all of those classes. And it also messed with, kind of my mental state as a whole, that I didn't even get diagnosed until like a couple of years after, a couple of years later. But yeah, and it's like, so I had to resort to the next best thing, was various, day jobs and temp jobs, as well as working on whatever I can to get to keep my freelance, and my freelance work and my skill sets, current and recent and active, And while I have certainly gone a long way since I've started doing all that, I still have so much left to go. And it can get a little frustrating when you see people that are able to get a lot farther ahead than you in far less time, but then you also have to kind of understand that everyone's built different, Not everyone is capable of the same things. So you always have to find, the things that you are strong in, and the things that, in your best approach, and play to your strengths. And I think that's kind of what it was, I was relying so much on a sense of kind of know-it-allism that wasn't even knowing it's all there is to know. And it, it kind of screwed with me. So yeah, at least I'm in a lot in a better place than that. But I think I've been kind of like a kind of the largest hurdle that I've had since then. Or if the hurdle started earlier, I'm still trying to get over it. Which kind of also kind of goes into kind of how inconsistent I've been with this, because this has always just kind of been a passion project. I think when I started this, I thought that this was going to turn into a main thing, but then I realized, up into kind of like the rebranding part, and then like when I realized that even after the rebranding, that didn't mean that I would magically just get into a form into making the kind of content that I thought I would be making. So, and especially because nowadays you can't even have a successful YouTube channel or Twitch channel without having like not only ads constantly playing like every 5 or so minutes, to the point where it's like even TV channels have even like your standard cable channels have less ads. But you also have to have like all these paid promotions and sponsorships, and that's even when you already kind of have like a following that people are willing to approach you with that sort of thing. And I mean like legit people, not people that say they have something, but don't, so that they just waste your time and take advantage of you. And yeah, I mean, I am being offered sponsorships through Stream Elements, but I think that's like what everyone's being offered. And the reason why I don't jump on those is, one, I do not have a large enough audience to make use of the sponsorship. And two, most of the sponsorships that they offer are stuff that I cannot take advantage of, or stuff that, I am not interested to begin with. And if I'm not interested in something, why would I try to be telling other people to be interested in instead? I mean, that's kind of why it was kind of hard for me to operate in like any sort of sales position, because it's like I'm in kind of like this internal mental block where it's like, if I want to sell something, it had to be something that I could see myself liking. If I have trouble seeing something that I like, if I have trouble seeing myself liking these things, how do I convince other people to like this thing that I'm selling? Which is why I'm surprised I lasted at a mall kiosk position for as long as I did, let alone be a manager. Man, the moment when that becomes 10 years ago, I'm just gonna be like, oh. That was my first job out of college. Not my first job, period, but my first job out of college. Because I did have some college jobs, in addition to internships. And yeah, like, even applying just for anything is like a real crapshoot. Like, I remember, like, job searching just sucks. Like, that's probably why a few of the positions that I had, I got through a temp agency. They kind of look for openings on my behalf and then see if I was interested or not. But either way, I'm doing like the best I can to like not go back to that unless if I absolutely have to. Like, I want to be doing the thing that I want to be doing. Whether it's for me or maybe for someone else, you know. I want to do the things that I like. Life's too short to work for a job that you hate. But yeah, that's how things have been going for me lately. Hopefully everybody's been kind of managing. I mean, I would say I hope that people are doing better, but you know, it's hard to kind of define what better exactly means these days. Everybody has their own struggle. And it also doesn't really help when, you know, when there are people who are involved in making the things you like, they just make them less likable for whatever reason. As far as what particular reason, that could always vary from person to person. Sometimes it'll be completely understandable, other times it could be completely petty. Such is society. Man, never thought I'd get so TED talky over a frickin' fruit matching puzzle game. But I mean, like, this is a very what you see is what you get, you know? Its strength does lie in its simplicity. It does make for a nice break in between whatever game you're playing, you know? Or, you know, as some of the scores have implied, you know, it's also a good game to get crazily addicted to, you know, until the next game. Although, like, what is the current game that everyone's like really playing? I think Lethal Company, but that is something to play with a group of friends, and I'm not really good at scheduling stuff with friends. unless if I happen to work on like a freelance project with said friends, I'm not good with scheduling stuff with friends. Like, I know some of my friends have been trying to get me into like a Mario Party session. That's kind of reason the reason why I chose Mario Party Superstar when I got like that double digital voucher and I got, you know, Super Mario Wonder with it. And aside from like, you know, trying it out and playing it on stream, I have not touched that game. You know, and I do want to play with friends, but it's like it's if I don't if you know, usually it's like time that could be the issue, but if it's not time, it's usually the energy. Like, I absolutely hate when I do finally have time to do stuff with people and all I can contribute to like a conversation is just occasional short comments and yawning because I am tired from whatever I had to do throughout the day. It could be something, you know, it could have been something like, day job related. It could have been something like freelance related. It could just be something that may have been like stressing me out or something. But it's like, oh man, you know, some days you just want to like sit back, put on like, like a TV or like something on streaming service, or, back in the day when we had to rely a lot on like Blu-rays, DVDs, and this thing called VHS tapes, just, play that and, just watch for hours on end. In fact, it's like, even as a kid, that's how I would fall asleep, is to have a VHS tape or a DVD tape on, or if I had to like do something that I couldn't keep my attention on otherwise, like homework. That's, I did homework to anime DVD sets. Surprisingly, I still get very good grades. But yeah, I mean, I was book smart, I was pretty good in the academic sphere. To the point where I actually could have, like, chosen any career I wanted, and almost any college. Like, I did get, recruitment letters for even to, like, Ivy League schools, but, I mean, I wasn't that good, I was barely considered for honor roll, an honors program. Which I did even also made the honors program in my college. But yeah, and I mean, especially in the world of, especially after all the standardizing testing and advanced class placements, then you realize, man, aside from good marks at my school and, the respect of my teachers, what did I actually do? Kind of a good lesson where it's like, good grades can lead into success, but good grades do not provide success by themselves. And unfortunately, I think our education system is still tied to that. That kind of makes me wonder every time I see like a news story about like someone who's like 10 to 13 years old and they get like accepted into like multiple different colleges or graduate with their PhD. You almost kind of wonder, it's like, okay, well, what are they doing now, Like, I'm sure they put themselves on the fast track to making large contributions to society, that is not only increasingly in need of it, but is also likely going to be increasingly thankless of whatever contributions they come up with. Because society sucks like that. But yeah, it's just, you have to kind of wonder, it's like, okay, well, I mean, what are they doing now? And then knowing my luck, they're probably gonna be like making like like millions in like sponsorships over like Twitch live streams or TikTok videos, and I'm just like, well, shit. Or they do something stupid and they say something stupid, and the controversial, scandalous, social media news cycle has more fuel to fuel its endless fire. That's another kind of oh shit or well shit. think I'm gonna play a few more rounds and then calling it a day. I've already done three three streams and quickly in the span of 2 days, so no need to overexert myself. Plus, again, it's like I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already seen like various YouTubers or VTubers that have done this and collectively lose their minds as the game can become surprisingly hard at any moment's notice. This is me just being late to the curve as late to the trend as usual. That's why I try not to follow them too much. Just this one actually looked fun to me. That's also why I try not to... Unless if I could do it for like a one-off stream, I try not to do games as soon as they're announced, because there is no way I'll ever be able to keep up. If a game comes out and if I'm able to and if I'm interested enough to play it, I'll just play it. You know, I like to think I've learned my lesson early on, you know. But who knows? Maybe there'll be a case where it turns out I won't learn my lesson after all. And you know, it's always at times where it's like you think it may be different that you're reminded. No, it isn't. Go watermelon, go! I'm not sure if I've gotten watermelon in the rounds that I have. I mean, granted, I barely gotten watermelon at all entirely, but it's like, you know, it's like, and I mean, here's the thing, it's, I'm so sorry. There's someone in my YouTube chat, that was starting to chat, but then Stream Elements kinda got a little cranky, especially when they did something in all caps. And it wasn't even rude all caps. It was just a way to like accentuate that I had 4 apples on screen. I mean, that's kind of the thing. I long for the day where I don't have to rely on any sort of bot to mod anymore, because it just really makes me look like a jerk when you know, people come to my chat and they try to chat and, you know, and they weren't being disrespectful and they get their messages deleted or... No. I'm not saying you're in trouble, Uchi Gamers. I'm saying that, you know, I'm saying the issues that I have on relying on automods to do the moderation for me, because I'm a smaller channel and the one mod that I do have, I can't expect them to be around all the time. You know? Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just the automod that I rely on to pick up the slack is the one that got cranky. You know, and this... it did it again. I'm so sorry. It's like... It does this to my friends too, which is even incredibly annoying. It's like, unless if I set the person to mod, automod will just, like, immediately, like, preemptively slap the person for doing something it sees like it does wrong, you know? And it's like, I try And it's like, I swear I have it on like the most lenient of settings, and it still wants to like preemptively, punish people for nothing. And of course I can't make everyone moderator, especially for people that just that just found me. Obviously I don't know how they found me, and I don't know kind of how they usually chat in other channels, so I don't want to give people mod privileges that I don't know, and I'm not sure if I could trust them or not. But at the same time, it's like I still have a very hard time trusting the own auto mod programs that I have, because it seems like they're doing their job a little bit too preemptively. No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at my I'm mad at the auto mod that I've set. That's the thing I'm mad at. I'm not mad at the chatter. I'm mad at the bot that's supposed to be like looking over the chat, because, it's just me. Yeah, this is not good. Okay. I am. Let's see. Props to the person that's still in my chat for at least trying to chat regardless, I'm sorry Automod's being a jerk to you. I wish I knew what the problem is. And again, I really hope for one day that I don't have to rely on it. But I do. And until then, I'm kind of screwed. And I have to kind of keep explaining to myself, whether it's a first-time chatter or whether it's a friend that's popping in, it's like I'm not mad. You did not do anything wrong. It's just Automod's being a jerk, And of course, what Automod doesn't catch are, people that like, subscribe and follow either my YouTube or Twitch channel, and then immediately after they try to advertise whatever it is they want to advertise on their channel. Like usually like some sort of like, streamer assets and stuff, and it's like, man, I'm broke, even even if they are legit, and even if they do have something to offer, I don't necessarily have the money to pay anyone to kind of, commission. It's like, I was lucky that I was able to do it like once or twice. But it's like, yeah, it's like immediate advertisements, like after like subscribing or following me, just, are becoming like increasingly kind of, irksome, And it's not like it's immediately out of like bad intent. It's just I don't know if it's like an actual person offering stuff, or like a bot that's trying to, steal personal information and stuff like that. Thanks for the subscription. Again, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Autobot. The Autobot. I'm not sure if it's the Stream Elements Autobot or the. Well, no, you're chatting in YouTube, so it has to be the Stream Elements Autobot. Yeah, I think it's the auto moderation I set in Stream Elements, and again, I swear it's like the laxest setting that I have, and it still preemptively like deletes messages for whatever reason. It's like, man, like at some point I might just have to bite the bullet and turn that off, and then just pay attention to whatever messages kind of come across, just to make sure that people don't get preemptively like hands up. It's like, hey, stop doing that. It's like, no, Automod. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong, Automod. Stop. It's. Thank you. I appreciate it. uh, yeah, Suika game is pretty fun. Definitely in short bursts, you know. Um, Especially, I think I mentioned this before. They only have one music track, um, with the exception of like seasonal events like what you're seeing right now, like kind of the wintry Christmas event. Um, but yeah, it's like and, and with it being kind of like a very simple puzzle game, it is meant to be played, in between like other games, or just kind of a nice, easy, quick de-stressor. And then suddenly you try to go for that high score, or try to meet the online ranking boards, and suddenly it becomes just as stressful. you know, or at the very least, it makes good content. Yeah, I do have 3 peaches. And now I have a pineapple. We have achieved pineapple, everyone. Hold on. Man, I kind of wish that there was a way to like not to like undo the message deletion. Because yeah, it's and it's just stop right clicking, because yeah, it's like, man, uh, yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to seriously consider for like next year and onward, is whether or not I still want to have the auto mod on. Because it's like, I swear this happens like, no, no, you weren't spamming. Trust me, you were doing just fine. It's just the auto mod sees it as spam because you're the only one in the stream. It cannot comprehend that, with smaller streamers, they don't have as many chatters. And if for whatever reason it's like, if for whatever reason it like shows it as like spam, it cannot differentiate like a small streamer only having one streamer, and like, someone who has like 50 or more viewers and one person is like randomly, you know spamming stuff. For whatever reason, automod does not differentiate between the two. You know, automod is dumb and lame like that. Yes, this game is very cute. Which is why it will surprise you when it decides to, pull a jerk move. Hey, we got a melon. The question is, will we get watermelon? Yeah, it is always satisfying when you do get kind of like a combo like that in any puzzle game. You're like, yes, I did that. uh. But yeah, I kind of was a little worried there because, you know, the melon was getting very uncomfortably close to the top. Man, that didn't quite work out at all. Well, thank you. It's much appreciated. I mean, that would have been nice if it was lower. uh... Oh, yeah, ba ba ba. Da 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 da. Hello, hello. uh, yeah. My second best score of the night. But yeah, this is getting to kind of the addicting factor again. I did make a melon. That doesn't always happen. Do 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 do. Man, if only those two peaches would just touch each other already. There we go. There was also another puzzle game that I played. Um, that was on mobile, and it was basically kind of like a. It was basically kind of like a kind of a multiplayer game where like the numbers were kind of also like made like kind of like dice shaped, and you do like all of the like you try to exponentially increase kind of like numbers for like various combos and stuff. It was fun for a while, but then I kind of lost interest in it, and I needed to kind of clear away space for my phone. So and I think that was also made by Yuji Naka too, before all of his insider trading shenanigans. And the massive flop that was Balan Wonderworld. There we go. Oh, got something at the bottom. Nice. Oh, not enough space. Probably wasn't the smartest move I did. Oh, that worked out kind of nicely. That pineapple is making me nervous. Yeah. And I'm not even sure if it was the pineapple that did it. All right, everybody. Well, that is, especially since I did like an hour-long stream right prior to this, I am going to call it a day. Thank you to everyone that have tuned in. Again, really sorry if you encountered any Automods shenanigans while you were live. I swear it was not your fault. It's just I have to rely on an automated system that is pretty spotty on reliability because, you know, I'm a small streamer and I can't really catch everything, you know? But with all of that said, I hope you have yourself a wonderful evening. I am going to try to get at least one more stream in before the holiday weekend. If not, we're gonna do a couple after the holidays are done. But with all that said, I hope you have yourselves a wonderful evening and take care. Goodbye.